Coming up in this edition of Southern Newsweek, a large woolly ewe is caught near Dunedin. Thousands turn up for this year's Burt Munro Challenge in Invercargill, and a new restaurant opens in a Dunedin hotel. Kia ora, good evening, I'm Melissa Barton. 2 Year 13 pupils living at a homestay on Scroggs Hill, south of Dunedin, put their rugby playing skills to good use catching a wild sheep. The ewe, which sports an enormous fleece, hasn't been shorn for a number of years.
It's been a while since this big woolly sheep has been shorn, but a haircut now looks like it's on the cards, thanks to Mahonri Alvaha and his friend Steve catching the ewe after she was seen wandering through the kanuka and gorse scrub of Scroggs Hill.
We've seen them a lot the end of last year. They're around the paddock, and so we're just waiting for the right opportunity.
He says it was his first time trying to catch the ewe and her slightly less woolly companion, which have both probably spent some years out of human contact.
I've been up close with sheep before. I went on a school camp out in Raglan in primary school, but this is the first time I experienced this, so it wasn't too bad.
Alvaha is down from Auckland to complete his last year at high school before going on to university, possibly to study commerce. But it was a sporting background that helped the two of them catch the woolly beasts.
So Steve and I, we do play rugby, and so really was quite a good edge on getting the sheep up.
The plan is now to relieve the ewe of the huge heavy coat and see if she's willing to become a bit more domesticated. In Dunedin, the South Today.
Invercargill's streets came to life last weekend with the hum of bikes, with this year's annual Burt Munro Challenge. Following a year affected by COVID-19, local businesses benefited from the surge of visitors.
Invercargill's Burt Munro Challenge events were among the last large-scale public gatherings before the country went into Level 2 COVID-19 restrictions. Organisers say a large number of people took full advantage of the weekend's events.
As you can see, this is the rally site, so this is a huge part of the run for the boys. Town is packed, so we've got to put, about 2,000 to 2,500 people need to sleep somewhere, so this is where they come from, motorhomes to tents. It's fantastic.
Event manager Claire Witham says around 2,500 people camped at the site. The Oreti Park Speedway track had a thorough workout over the weekend, with a wide range of motorcycle events being held.
Today we've got the 15th Burt Munro Speedway Spectacular. We are a bike-only speedway track at the bottom of the country, and we've got grades right from peewees through to the sidecars.
Oreti Park Speedway President Natasha King says the Burt Munro Challenge brings a huge crowd to the south. Invercargill's Licensing Trust Chief Executive Chris Ramsey says it's great to hear the rumble of bikes in Invercargill again, whose riders set cash registers ringing. Southern Dragways President Rhys Jones says it's the fourth year of drag racing as part of the Burt Munro weekend of events.
Fine with the Burt Munro, this is our fourth year of doing drag racing, and we always find that the riders and the participants and the competitors support the event, drag racing. Burt Munro never drag raced as such. He was a keen sprint racer. He would do quarter miles and flying and standing quarter miles all around the country, and very successfully. So we race side by side here. It's typical American drag racing, and normally we would race here with cars and bikes during the year, but we really look forward to the Burt Munro because it really is the spirit of motorcycling alive in the south.
Riders and enthusiasts travelled to Invercargill from across New Zealand, some riding down from Auckland. Big events can sometimes create social issues. However, Southern Police say they were pleased with how the weekend has been running. In Invercargill, the South Today.
Dunedin City Councillor Andrew Wiley has joined several other councillors in praising the way council staff dealt with potential lead contamination of drinking water. This comes after residents of Karatane and Waikouiti have been advised not to drink the tap water in their area.
Dunedin may never know for sure why an elevated level of lead was picked up in the tap water at Waikawaiti and Karatane last year. That's what Dunedin City councillors were told at their most recent meeting, with Councillor Andrew Wiley saying the uncertainty has taken its toll on the community.
And at the bottom of it, it's the people of the Waikawaiti, Karatane and Hawkesbury villages that have been affected here. Personally, I'm sorry they went through this. I really, the gutting emotion of that meeting and what these residents went through was really heartbreaking. The emotion of the young parents and the elderly. What was going to happen to them? And I think the word sorry hasn't been used enough. I've hardly heard it, I haven't heard it once today. And I think that to me is the most important part. To say, you know what, we're sorry this community went through this.
Councillor Jim O'Malley says the council is not trying to minimise the potential gravity of the situation.
It may look like when you're trying to create the balanced story, you're trying to minimise. There's no way that this council is minimising what is going on here. There's no way we're minimising our duty of care to the community. But we do have to be cautious. We don't have all the information in yet.
And Councillor Wiley says the hard work by the council staff to combat the situation needs to be recognised.
You know, when there's 40 plus staff that really got out into the community quickly, door knocked, engaged, and tried to assist the community, I take my hat off to them. You know, the staff that manned the water tanks over the following days and helped the community. You know, even just having those milk jugs, the plastic jugs, and supplying those was a great asset.
The Waikawaiti Coast Community Board says the public announcement of the problem was not the City Council's finest hour, but everything since then has been handled well. In Dunedin, the South Today.
Working in Dunedin's first five-star hotel kitchen is a long way from Darren Smith's days as a car painter. The chef's southern roots are spelled out in one item on his new restaurant menu, the cheese roll.
It's hard to imagine southern sushi, otherwise known as the humble cheese roll, having any place whatsoever in a five-star restaurant. However, car painter cum chef Darren Smith is proof the southern delicacy can be haute cuisine.
So you don't get any more south on a cheese roll or a whitebait fritter. Unfortunately, there was no whitebait at the season, wrong season. So I threw a cheese roll at him, and all our Auckland head office, can't get over the cheese roll thing.
He says his bosses approve of the southern touch, and Dunedin chefs take notice. Smith plans to enter the city's cheese roll making competition in 2022. Smith is the head chef at new Dunedin restaurant The Press Club at Fable Dunedin, the former Wayne's Hotel, and he says he's familiar with this kitchen.
Fable Hotel, what was Wayne's Hotel, was also one of my rent chef clients. Right. So for the last 3 years, anytime general manager had a night function or something like that, rent chef got called in. Yeah. You know, quite often they did the manager's lunch, what they call it, all the general managers from all the hotels in town. Yeah. They all have turns about it, hosting it. So when it was the Wayne's Hotel turn, I used to come in and do it. As he has a sweet tooth, he says one of the features of the Press Club is right up his alley, along with being a fitting addition to five-star cuisine. It's a lot of Dunedin hasn't been doing it, you know, so there is a call for it. As soon as people start seeing what we're doing, people are going to love it. You know, it's just those finishing wee touches that bring it to the five-star that, you know, some of the others don't have. The historic Wayne's Hotel building has long been a place hosting the finer things in life. But the hotel backers spent $10 million on a facelift as part of its pitch to become a five-star hotel. In Dunedin, the South Today.
Still to come on this Southern Newsweek, mural artists take to the walls of Bluff and miniature horses provide therapy for the disabled. So catch this and more after the break. Welcome back. An exciting new chapter is about to begin on a project encouraging South Dunedin children aged between 3 and 7 to take up reading for pleasure. The Read, Share, Grow Communities of Readers project began late last year and saw people taking to South Dunedin streets to spread the word.
Taking the good word to the streets in a further attempt to encourage young readers.
Well, we're really excited today because we are soon to be setting off down the streets of South Dunedin to deliver posters that promote the Communities of Readers project.
Since the Community of Readers project, known as Read, Share, Grow, launched in November 2020, 5,000 books have been distributed to schools and early childhood centres in South Dunedin. Dunedin City Councillor Aratoi Relationship Manager Kirsty Glengarry says this is the next step.
So we know that turning off a screen and curling up with a book is going to be far more relaxing, and I think it's great for families to know that. So today we're going out down the main street of South Dunedin with posters about this Communities of Readers project and sharing that love of reading.
National Capability Facilitator at the National Library, Bridget Schaum, says they're excited to be talking to South Dunedin businesses and community groups, taking it to the streets, as it were.
Well, we are dealing with the books. We're getting the books in and we're making up boxes of books to deliver out to the community as well as to schools and early childhood centres. We are connecting with as many groups as possible in the community so that we can get the books to the kids.
The Read, Share, Grow project is part of the National Library's Communities of Readers program, with 4 different communities across New Zealand supporting and encouraging young people to read for pleasure.
We work together to implement the book distribution, the campaign with the posters and the books, and also events, participating in those throughout the calendar until the end of June, and various other activities that we're going to be doing within schools and early childhood education centres.
The Read, Share, Grow team are engaging with local community organisations and businesses, offering them books for their premises. The project is a partnership between a host of organisations, including the National Library, the Ministry of Education, the DCC and others. In Dunedin, the South Today.
15 individuals have been seen spraying paint on the walls of buildings in Bluff. However, they're not vandals, but rather mural artists from across New Zealand adding colour to the seaside town.
After having become extinct during early Maori settlement, Haast's eagles have come back to life again on the Eagle Hotel in Bluff, thanks to Christchurch-based artist Dee Cypher. He's been painting murals for 20 years, and while he sometimes uses rollers to create the base of his artwork, he finds spray paint cans are essential to making a mural stand out.
Spray paint is the best medium there is for painting murals, just because of the high speed sort of coverage, multiple different nozzles, that type of thing.
There's 15 artists contributing to this year's South Sea Spray Festival in Bluff, which includes an exhibition at the Lighthouse Gallery opening this weekend. Dee Cypher says murals not only liven up the appearance of a town, but can also make the community feel better about itself.
Blank walls are just blank walls, and once you put some awesome artwork on there, it changes the whole dynamic of the whole place, you know what I mean, and the people, and you know, it has sort of a domino effect of people, you know, just raising the bar and making stuff better.
Cor Yu is currently living in Geraldine and only started painting murals 2 years ago. He's acknowledging the fishing history of Bluff with his painting of an old fisherman and his boat.
So this is the old fisherman I'm painting, and looks like captain as well. And there is a boat, looks like massive ship, looks like a whale, but it also looks like a ship. So which means it's carrying the history of this town, Bluff, because this town has the longest history of the New Zealand. And he is looking to the ocean, and which means the future. So carrying the past and bring to the future, like that concept.
Art workshops have also been taking place in Bluff throughout the week. In Bluff, the South Today.
3 miniature horses are joining a herd of therapy animals in South Otago. The trio are from the Balclutha-based Equine Life Skills Academy and are said to be the right size to help many people.
The trio of Pepe, Luca and Peanut are set to walk on into the lives of adults and children needing a helping hand with life skills.
So for at-risk children, sometimes communication can be really hard. We've had a number of children come in from places like, say, Dunedin as an example, and just doing a session with the horses really helps them to articulate their feelings. It reflects to them perhaps areas in their behaviour where they may want to improve.
Anton van Skalkwijk says he and his wife set up the Equine Life Skills Academy in 2018 and has been involved with riding for the disabled since 2013. He says this is a natural progression.
We saw the major effect and impact horses had on our disabled riders, and also wanted to have a program where we could include other able-bodied riders, as well as something for adults and people that may benefit from interacting with horses, especially in the area of life skills.
Animal-assisted therapy has been shown to promote emotional well-being, and contact with gentle animals provides comfort while helping people to be happier. Hester Labouche owns the trio of well-pampered ponies and says being with well-natured miniature horses can help children to not be scared of larger animals.
It's such a good therapy for everybody to be around, and especially little children. A lot of children these days are scared of animals, and they just love the little ponies.
Anton's daughter, Tiana van Skalkwijk, is part of the team and says it's her life mission to help people gain life skills, and these smaller horses can help many people.
These ponies are being used for kids as they're a lot smaller and more relatable to the children rather than big horses. They're less intimidating and the kids find them quite interesting and very cute.
While the team can host people at their facility, the miniature horses can also be used for community programs. The Equine Life Skills Academy team says the outreach program is a great idea because horses are fantastic therapy animals. In Kaitangata, the South Today.
A Dunedin couple who renovated their house, giving themselves an extra third bedroom and a new deck, have a piece of advice for others. They suggest people spend several years thinking about what improvements could work best before splashing out the cash on their expensive home improvements.
When Roberta Carvalho and Amilcar Oliveira moved into their house in the Dunedin suburb of Scroggs Hill in 2002, they quickly discovered things that didn't suit them.
The house was too small, it was only 2 bedrooms, and the kitchen was tucked in a wee corner. So when people came, we were quite isolated, wasn't it? So it was a struggle to walk past and to socialize, so we couldn't really have friends here.
And also the fact that we didn't have sun or use of the outside area, and we wanted to make sure that we were using the sun to our advantage, to the house's advantage, but also because I like sun.
Yeah, we were never outside because there was no way to come outside. We would have to go to the front door to come to the garden.
The lack of sun was fixed by removing a south-facing deck that was always in the shade, and they made the dining room open out to a new deck on the sunny side of the house. It only took the addition of an extra 19 square metres to give the home a much-desired third bedroom.
We wanted an extra bedroom for family to come because, of course, when family comes from Brazil, they stay for at least a month.
A while.
So, we wanted that extra bedroom, and it turned out to be fantastic with lockdown, of course, because one of us could work in there.
The couple say they're glad they spent a good 10 years thinking about how to improve the house before spending money on the renovations.
By the time we started the renovation itself, nothing was changed, nothing.
I think the advice, for example, if we were to give advice to anybody renovating or extending, is buy yourself time. Don't rush.
Don't rush on the planning side of it.
The house turned out to be in worse shape than it first appeared, meaning they had to exceed their budget of $160,000 because some things made sense to do properly.
Changing all the windows and putting double glaze was not a necessity, but to us, again, it made sense. Why would you, leave one old window, in the scheme of things, on your budget? It didn't really blow things.
In the end, they only exceeded their budget by $20,000, getting the equivalent of a new house for $180,000. In Dunedin, the South Today.
Still to come on Southern Newsweek, the fish are biting at this year's fishing event on Lake Hawea, and a potter from France lays down roots near Wanaka, so see you after the break. Thanks for staying with us. A record number of anglers turned out for this year's Family Fishing Classic held in Lake Hawea. And while brown and rainbow trout numbers were good, salmon catches were down from other years.
12-year-old Sarah Doherty weighs in the rainbow and brown trout that she and her father caught in this year's Lake Hawea Family Fishing Classic. Calm, sunny weather meant for a record number of just over 400 entries, keeping Otago Fish and Game Officer Paul van Klink busy all day weighing and measuring the fish brought in.
It's going good. It's been steady all day since, what did we start? About 10 past 2. Getting a lot of information on what people are catching out in the lake, lengths and weights, so very good information for Fish and Game. Yeah, and it can, I think, I'd have to say the catch rate's a lot better than previous years. There's been a lot of fish weighed already, and we've got another hour to go, so it looks like it's going to be a record day all round.
The fish stocks in lakes such as Hawea are maintained by Fish and Game, with one introduced fish species not very prevalent in this year's catch.
The number of salmon being caught is way down on previous years, yeah, to be fair to say. Usually there's a few salmon get weighed, but we haven't had too many today.
The competition, which has been running since the 1990s, gives out first, second and third prizes for heaviest rainbow trout, brown trout and salmon, plus family-friendly categories such as heaviest fish caught by a child and the best genuine hard luck story. The event raises quite a few $1,000s each year, which is distributed back to the local community. In Lake Hawea, the South Today.
Tickets have gone on sale for Wanaka's Festival of Colour. Teaming up with other arts festivals in Dunedin and Auckland, this year will see the Royal New Zealand Ballet entertaining a local crowd.
Locals lined up at the Lake Wanaka Centre more than an hour before the doors opened so they could get the first tickets to this year's Festival of Colour Arts.
Well, I didn't want to miss out on these wonderful tickets.
The festival features 6 days and nights of performances and exhibitions in Wanaka, as well as in nearby Luggett, Hawea, Cromwell and Queenstown. And while all the tickets can be ordered online, Jane Nimmo says she always sees some of the same people waiting at the door when the festival is launched every 2 years.
It's quite a close-knit community, the first people that come.
This year the Wanaka Festival is partnered with both the Dunedin and Auckland Arts Festivals, allowing Wanaka to have the New Zealand Royal Ballet performing 2 new works, plus the Chills playing here after their Dunedin concert.
Yeah, really excited. It's great to see the tickets finally on sale after all our hard work, and we have an awesome program, so get amongst it.
Given the COVID-19 situation, the festival has contingency plans with the aims of continuing unless crowd numbers are reduced to no more than 50 people. In Wanaka, the South Today.
An Arrowtown-based potter from France is taking inspiration from the natural world around her. After she arrived in New Zealand, Zazou Pottery set about turning her hobby into a profession.
Back in her native France, Zazou Pottery, now of Albertown, began taking pottery lessons at an early age.
And in France it was like, oh, it's a hobby, it's not a profession, you know, classic. And then I did a few things, and then I decided to go traveling and ended up in New Zealand.
Vitar says moving to Aotearoa after a period of travelling gave her the opportunity to reinvent herself, choosing to draw on skills gained in France during her formative years.
And I thought, oh, what can I do? You know, you have to dig in your own story to make a living. And I thought, oh yeah, I can now. Nobody's telling me not to do it. And the attitude of New Zealand, yeah, go for it, give it a go.
She's a regular at craft markets in Queenstown and Wanaka, and also sells directly from her website. She's now turning and decorating a plethora of cups, bowls and jugs, but started making small handheld musical instruments.
I started with the little flutes, ocarinas, which I was selling at the market as well. No, they are little flutes in the shape of birds, and they've got 6 holes, so you actually can play music. You can actually play.
Following that start, she then had the opportunity to buy a wheel, a kiln and all the toys necessary to aid her development as an artisan potter. Vitar says New Zealand's natural environment, including the mountains and lakes of the Upper Clutha, influence her work, as well as native birds like tui and piwaka waka. In Albertown, the South Today.
And that wraps up this edition of Southern Newsweek. For the latest news from the Southern region, head online to odt.co.nz or follow Channel 39 on Facebook and YouTube. Thanks for joining us. Ka kite anō.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.